Stop what you're doing. What I'm about to show you will either make you psychologically unstoppable, or you'll ignore it and stay breakable for the rest of your life. Yesterday I watched a man let someone disrespect him in public. He just stood there, took it, said nothing, did nothing, just absorbed the disrespect like he deserved it. These men are everywhere, men who let life push them around, men who accept whatever comes, men who think being stoppable is just their nature. Maybe that's you. Maybe you recognize yourself in that story. Maybe you're tired of people walking over you, tired of life knocking you down, tired of obstacles stopping you, tired of feeling like you can't control anything. Here's what nobody told you. You weren't born this way, you were made this way, programmed to be stoppable, conditioned to accept limits, trained to believe that circumstances control you, that other people determine your success, that obstacles mean game over. But 500 years ago, one man cracked the code. He watched some men get crushed by life while others became unstoppable. Same obstacles, same circumstances, different psychology. His name was Machiavelli, and he discovered the exact mental frameworks that make a person impossible to stop. Not motivational speeches, not positive thinking, real psychological architecture that holds up when life gets brutal. I'm talking about becoming the type of person who gets knocked down and stands back up stronger. The type who faces obstacles and turns them into advantages. The type who other people try to stop and can't. I'm talking about building a mind that cannot be broken, a psychology that cannot be defeated, a mindset where nothing can hold you back. Not failure, not rejection, not other people's doubt, not circumstances, nothing. In the next 30 minutes, I'm giving you the complete system. 3 pillars that remove all psychological weakness, 8 principles that make you literally unstoppable. The Machiavellian power psychology that separates people who get stopped from people who can't be stopped. From someone who breaks under pressure to someone who thrives in it. From someone who lets circumstances control them to someone who controls their response to any circumstance. From someone who hopes things work out to someone who makes things work out. But here's my warning. Once you understand this psychology, you can't unknow it. Once you see how unstoppable people think, you can't think like a stoppable person anymore. Once you build this fortress in your mind, there's no tearing it down. This is permanent transformation, point of no return. You'll never be the same person who clicked on this video. Now I want you to drop this in the comments right now. Type, "Nobody can stop me. I am psychologically unstoppable." This is your declaration. This is you choosing to become unbreakable. Are you ready to build a mind that nothing can break? Let's begin. Most people are stoppable, and they don't even know why. They think it's just how they are. They think some people are born strong and others are born weak. They think circumstances determine everything. They think their past defines their future. They're wrong. Being stoppable isn't nature, it's programming. From the moment you were born, society started training you. Be obedient, follow the rules, don't make waves, accept your place, stay in your lane. They taught you to seek permission before you move, to need approval before you act, to wait for someone else to give you the green light. They conditioned you to let external forces control your internal state, to let other people's opinions determine your self-worth, to let obstacles convince you to quit. This is learned helplessness. You weren't born helpless, you were made helpless. Trained to accept limits. Programmed to believe you can't. Conditioned to stop when things get hard. And now you're stuck. Not because you lack ability, because you lack the psychology of someone who can't be stopped. So what makes someone actually unstoppable? It's not genetics, it's not luck, it's not even circumstances. It's psychology. Specific mental frameworks that create a mind that cannot be broken. Strategic thinking patterns that turn obstacles into advantages. Power principles that make failure impossible, because every setback becomes setup. Machiavelli studied this 500 years ago. He watched weak men become powerful, and powerful men become weak. He documented what separated them. The difference was never physical, it was always psychological. Some men had mental frameworks that made them impossible to stop. They processed reality differently. They responded to obstacles differently. They thought about failure differently. They approached life from a position of internal control instead of external dependence. And that difference changed everything. Machiavelli said it perfectly: the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The fool waits until pain forces change. The wise man changes before pain forces it. The fool learns after defeat. The wise man learns before it. The fool becomes unstoppable after life breaks him enough times. The wise man becomes unstoppable by choice, right now, today, through understanding how unstoppable psychology actually works. There are two types of people in this world: stoppable people and unstoppable people. Stoppable people have an external locus of control. They believe life happens to them, they're reactive. They break when pressure comes. They quit when obstacles appear. They need circumstances to be perfect before they move. Unstoppable people have an internal locus of control. They believe they happen to life. They're proactive. They strengthen under pressure. They use obstacles as fuel. They move regardless of circumstances. You're about to become the second type. Not through motivation, not through positive thinking. Through psychological architecture, mental frameworks that actually hold. When life gets brutal, the 3 pillars and 8 principles that create true unstoppability. This is Machiavelli's power psychology. And it starts now. Drop this in the comments. I am psychologically sovereign. Unstoppable psychology is built on 3 pillars. 3 mental structures that remove all vulnerability. Together they create a mind that cannot be broken. Master these 3 and nothing can hold you back. Ignore them and everything will. Pillar 1. Radical self-reliance. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody is responsible for your success except you. This sounds harsh. It's actually the most liberating truth you'll ever accept. When you expect nothing from others, disappointment can't break you. When you depend on nobody, nobody can control you. When you are your only guarantee, you become unbreakable. Most people are waiting for someone to help them, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for permission, waiting for support. They've made their success dependent on external factors. And external factors are unreliable. People let you down. Opportunities disappear. Timing is never perfect. This dependency makes them stoppable. The moment their external support fails, they fail. Radical self-reliance means you have the capacity to stand alone. Not that you're alone. Not that you don't accept help. But that you could survive without it. You have backup plans. You have alternatives. You have options. You're not dependent on any single person, opportunity, or circumstance. This isn't isolation. This is freedom. Machiavelli said it clearly. A prince should never depend on the goodwill of others for his security. The moment you need someone else's goodwill to survive, they control you. Think about 2 people. Person A has one path to success. One job opportunity, one relationship, one plan. Person A is vulnerable. If that one thing fails, everything fails. Person B has multiple paths, multiple options, multiple plans. Person B is anti-fragile. If one path fails, they pivot to another. Person A is stoppable. Person B is unstoppable. The difference is radical self-reliance. Pillar 2. Outcome independence. Care about results but don't need them. Want things but don't require them. Prefer success but don't depend on it. This is the paradox of power. The less you need something, the more likely you are to get it. The more desperate you are, the more it repels. Attachment to outcomes creates vulnerability. Detachment creates freedom. When you need a specific outcome, pressure destroys you. You become desperate. Desperation is weakness. It clouds judgment. It makes you accept bad deals. It makes you tolerate disrespect. It makes you compromise your standards. But when you prefer an outcome without needing it, pressure disappears. You think clearly. You negotiate strongly. You maintain standards. You perform better because the stakes feel lower. Machiavelli understood this. Hope makes men bold, but fear makes them cautious. When you need something desperately, fear controls you. When you want something without needing it, hope guides you. The person who needs nothing is unstoppable because nothing can threaten them. They can walk away from anything. And the ability to walk away is the ultimate power. Think about job interviews. The desperate candidate needs this job. They'll accept anything. Low salary, bad conditions, disrespect. Why? Because they need it. The outcome-independent candidate prefers this job but has other options. They negotiate strongly. They maintain standards. They walk away if it's not right. Who gets better offers? Always the person who doesn't need it. Pillar 3. Strategic optimism. This isn't naive positivity. This isn't pretending everything is fine. This is calculated belief in your ability to adapt. No matter what happens, you'll figure it out. Every obstacle has a solution. Every setback has a lesson. Every failure has a redirect. This mindset makes you unstoppable because you never see dead ends, just puzzles to solve. Most people see obstacles as walls, stop signs, proof they should quit. Strategic optimism sees obstacles as puzzles, challenges to solve, information to process. The obstacle isn't stopping you, it's just requiring you to think differently. Machiavelli said it best, never was anything great achieved without danger. Obstacles are part of greatness, not barriers to it. Think about someone who faces a problem. One person thinks I can't do this and quits. Another thinks how can I do this and persists. Same obstacle, different psychology, different outcome. Strategic optimism is replacing I can't with how can I. It's assuming there's a way and committing to finding it. This makes you unstoppable because quitting isn't an option you consider. These 3 pillars create the foundation. Radical self-reliance removes dependency. Outcome independence removes desperation. Strategic optimism removes defeat. Together they create a psychology that cannot be broken. Now we build 8 principles on top of this foundation. Drop this in the comments. I rely on myself, need nothing, and adapt to everything. You are not what happened to you. You are what you tell yourself about what happened to you. Same event, different interpretation, different life. Your story determines your power, not the facts, the story you tell yourself about the facts. 2 people lose their jobs. Person A tells themselves I'm a failure, life is unfair, nothing works out for me. Person B tells themselves this is a forced opportunity. Time to pivot, time to upgrade. Same event, different narrative. Person A stays stuck. Person B moves forward. The difference isn't the circumstance, it's the story. Victim mentality says life is happening to you. Victor mentality says life is happening for you. Victims are powerless. Victims are stoppable because they've given their power to external circumstances. Victors are powerful. Victors are unstoppable because they control how they interpret everything that happens. This is ultimate power. External events don't control you. Your interpretation does. Change the interpretation and you change everything. Nobody can make you a victim without your consent. Nobody can stop you unless you accept their story about you. You control the narrative, always. Every setback is a setup. Every failure is redirection. Every loss is a lesson. Every obstacle is training. This isn't delusion, this is strategic reframing. Finding the advantage in every disadvantage. Finding the opportunity in every problem. Finding the growth in every pain. Machiavelli understood this completely. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Control how you appear to yourself. Your internal narrative creates your external reality. Here's your action step. Write down your current negative narrative, the story you're telling yourself about why you're stuck. Then rewrite it as an empowering story. Find the advantage. Find the lesson. Find the redirect. Then repeat that new narrative daily until it becomes your default. Control your story, control your life. This makes you unstoppable, because circumstances can't break someone who controls their interpretation of circumstances. Obstacles aren't in your way, they are the way. Resistance creates strength. Difficulty creates skill. Opposition creates strategy. What tries to stop you is actually building you. This is the paradox of power. Easy paths create weak people. Hard paths create strong people. Your obstacles are your training. Every challenge is a rep in the gym. Every problem is a lesson. Every setback is practice. You're not being stopped. You're being strengthened. The obstacle isn't the enemy, the obstacle is the teacher. And if you're not facing obstacles, you're not growing. Most people see obstacles as proof they should quit. Unstoppable people see obstacles as proof they're on the right path. Big goals attract big obstacles. No resistance means you're not pushing hard enough. Obstacles mean you're attempting something worth doing. Welcome them, use them, thank them for the training. Think about an entrepreneur who faces rejection. Every rejection teaches them to improve their pitch. Every failure shows them what doesn't work. Every setback forces them to get creative. The obstacles aren't stopping them, they're making them better. They're making them unstoppable. Opposition forced improvement. Machiavelli saw this clearly. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at how he handles difficulty. Smart people use obstacles. Fools complain about them. Smart people ask, what is this making me become? Fools ask, why is this happening to me? The question determines the outcome. Here's the transformation you need. Stop seeing obstacles as stop signs. Start seeing them as training equipment. The heavier the weight, the stronger you become. The harder the challenge, the more capable you become. Every obstacle you overcome makes the next one easier. You're building unstoppable momentum through resistance. Your action step. List your current obstacles. Next to each one, write how it's making you stronger. What skill is it forcing you to develop? What weakness is it exposing that you can now fix? Thank each obstacle for the training, then use them as fuel to move forward. You don't need approval to move. You don't need permission to start. You don't need consensus to decide. Waiting for permission is how you stay stuck forever. Nobody is giving you permission. Nobody is clearing your path. Nobody is waiting to approve you. Move anyway. Most people are paralyzed by permission seeking. They wait for someone to tell them it's okay. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for support. They wait for validation. They're waiting for a green light that never comes. Because successful people don't wait for permission. They give themselves permission and deal with consequences later. Fear keeps you waiting. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of responsibility. Waiting feels safe, but safe is slow, and slow is stopped. You're not moving forward while you're waiting. You're just standing still with an excuse. Permission seeking is procrastination disguised as prudence. The truth is brutal. Nobody cares enough about your dreams to give you permission. They're too busy with their own lives. And even if they did care, why would their approval matter more than your own vision? You know what you need to do. Do it. Start before you're ready. Move before you're certain. Act before you're approved. Permission comes after action, not before. Think about successful people. Did they wait for permission? Writers who self-published instead of waiting for publishers. Entrepreneurs who bootstrapped instead of waiting for investors. Artists who posted online instead of waiting for galleries. They moved. They started. They gave themselves permission. And the world adjusted. Machiavelli understood this completely. It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret. Action creates options. Inaction creates nothing. Regret for action fades. Regret for inaction haunts forever. The risk of moving is smaller than the cost of waiting. Your action step. Identify one thing you're waiting for permission to do. Give yourself permission today, not tomorrow. Today. Start immediately. Even the smallest action breaks the permission paralysis. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates unstoppability. Stop waiting. Start moving. Failure isn't fatal, it's feedback. Every failure is information. Every mistake is a lesson. Every loss is data for the next win. Unstoppable people don't fear failure. They use it. They extract the lesson. They adjust. They try again. Failure only stops you if you process it emotionally instead of analytically. The mindset shift is simple but powerful. From I failed to I learned. From it didn't work to that approach doesn't work. From I'm not good enough to I'm not good enough yet. One word changes everything. Failure becomes progress. Setback becomes setup. Loss becomes lesson. You're not moving backward. You're gathering intelligence. When failure can't stop you, nothing can. Because you're always moving forward, even when you're moving back. Every attempt teaches something. Every try improves your odds. Every failure eliminates one path that doesn't work. You're failing forward. Getting closer to success through elimination. This is how Edison found the light bulb. He didn't fail 10,000 times. He found 10,000 ways that don't work. Each failure was progress. After every failure, ask 3 questions. What worked? What didn't? What will I do differently next time? Extract the data immediately. Apply the lesson to your next attempt. This is analytical processing, not emotional. You're not asking, why am I so stupid? You're asking, what did this teach me? The first question paralyzes. The second question mobilizes. Machiavelli saw this pattern clearly. The wise man learns from failure. The fool repeats it. Data processing separates them. The wise extract lessons and adjust. The fool takes failure personally and quits. Same failure. Different response. Different outcome. Your action step. List your recent failures. Extract the data from each one. What did you learn? What will you do differently? Apply those lessons to your current efforts. Watch how failure transforms from enemy to teacher. When failure teaches instead of stops, you become unstoppable. Momentum makes you unstoppable. Not physical momentum. Psychological momentum. A string of wins creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. Results create bigger confidence. The cycle compounds. Once it starts, it feeds itself. This is how unstoppable people stay unstoppable. They protect their momentum. Their life depends on it. Because it does. Momentum works like this. Small win creates belief. Belief creates bigger action. Action creates bigger result. Result creates stronger belief. The cycle spirals upward. But it starts small, one tiny win, then another, stack them daily. Don't break the chain. Momentum builds on itself. Here's why this matters. A person with momentum feels unstoppable. Everything seems possible. Action feels easy. Obstacles feel small. Same person without momentum feels stuck. Everything seems impossible. Action feels hard. Small obstacles feel massive. Same person. Different psychology. Momentum changes everything. How do you build it? Start with the smallest possible win. Something you can do today. Right now, make your bed, 10 push-ups, healthy breakfast. Something small but definite, a clear win. Tomorrow, do it again and add one more. Stack wins. Each win feeds the next. Week later, you have unstoppable routine. Each success proved you can succeed. Confidence built through proof. Think about it practically. Day 1, you make your bed. That's a win. Day 2, you make your bed and do 10 push-ups. 2 wins. Day 3, you add healthy breakfast. 3 wins. Each day the momentum grows. Each win makes the next one easier. You become the person who doesn't break streaks, the person who always follows through, the person who can't be stopped. Machiavelli understood this completely. Success breeds success, and failure breeds failure. Create the success cycle deliberately. Protect momentum fiercely. Never break winning streaks. If you stumble, restart immediately. Momentum lost takes time to rebuild. Momentum maintained is unstoppable force. Your action step. Define one daily non-negotiable. Execute it 7 days straight. Add a second habit after. Build momentum intentionally. Watch how unstoppable you become. Scarcity mindset makes you stoppable. Abundance mindset makes you unstoppable. This isn't about having everything. This is about knowing you can get everything. It's psychological abundance, not material abundance. The belief that opportunities are infinite, that options are everywhere, that one door closing means 10 others exist. This belief changes everything. Scarcity thinking says this is my only chance. Abundance thinking says opportunities are everywhere. Scarcity says I need this specific outcome. Abundance says many paths lead forward. Same situation. Different mindset, different results. Scarcity creates desperation. Desperation is weakness. Abundance creates confidence. Confidence is power. Why does abundance make you unstoppable? It removes desperation. When you're not desperate, you negotiate from strength. You maintain standards. You walk away from bad deals. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't compromise your values. Abundance is knowing you have options, and options are power. Think about dating. Someone desperate for one specific person is powerless. They accept anything. They tolerate disrespect. They compromise everything. Why? Scarcity. They think this is their only shot. Someone with abundance mentality knows many compatible people exist. They maintain standards. They walk away from disrespect. They attract better because they're not desperate. Same person, different mindset, different outcomes. This applies everywhere. Business, one client versus knowing more clients are available. Career, one job versus knowing your skills are transferable. Relationships, one friendship versus knowing genuine people exist. Abundance thinking removes neediness, and neediness repels everything you want. Machiavelli said it clearly. A prince who relies on one fortress is easily conquered. One option is vulnerability. Multiple options are security. Psychological abundance is knowing alternatives exist. This makes you unstoppable, because nothing can threaten someone who has options. Your action step. List something you feel scarce about. Write 10 alternative paths to get it. Abundance is awareness of options. When you see 10 paths, you're no longer desperate about one. This removes the scarcity that makes you stoppable. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your circumstances. You are not what others say you are. Labels are cages. Refuse them. Every time someone tries to define you, remember this. Their label is their limitation, not yours. Labels stop people dead. I'm not a math person. That label stops you from learning math. I'm shy. That label stops you from connecting. I'm not creative. That label stops you from creating. I'm unlucky. That label stops you from trying. Each label is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You become what you accept as truth about yourself. Here's the truth that sets you free. You are what you decide to become. Your past doesn't predict your future. Your failures don't define your potential. Your circumstances don't determine your destiny. Labels are temporary unless you accept them permanently. Identity is flexible, not fixed. You can change who you are by changing what you do. When you catch yourself saying, "I'm not good at this," stop. Replace it with, "I'm learning this." "I'm not athletic" becomes, "I'm developing fitness." "I'm bad with money" becomes, "I'm building financial skills." The shift from fixed to growth changes everything. Labels break, potential opens, movement begins. Think about people who broke their labels. Someone labeled not athletic starts training and becomes fit. Someone labeled bad with money learns finance and builds wealth. Someone labeled not smart commits to learning and becomes expert. The label broke because they refused it. Action shattered identity. Machiavelli understood identity is fluid. Men are so simple that the present always convinces them. They believe their current state is permanent. You know better. Current state is just current, not permanent, not destiny, just temporary condition that action changes. Your action step. List every limiting label you've accepted about yourself. Rewrite each as a becoming statement. Then prove the labels wrong through action. When no label sticks, nothing stops you. Stopped objects stay stopped. Moving objects stay moving. Physics applies to psychology. Unstoppable means literally not stopping. Action creates action. Inaction creates inaction. The hardest part of any journey is starting. The second hardest is not stopping once you start. Momentum requires movement. Confidence requires action. Progress requires steps. Waiting is stopping. Planning without doing is stopping. Thinking without acting is stopping. You're either moving forward or you're standing still. There's no middle ground. Standing still feels safe, but it's actually the most dangerous position, because stop targets are easiest to hit. Moving targets are harder to stop. Here's the psychology. Taking action, any action, defeats paralysis. Imperfect action beats perfect planning every time, because action creates information. Information creates adjustment. Adjustment creates improvement. But standing still creates nothing, just more standing still. Motion creates more motion. Stillness creates more stillness. Stay in motion daily. Do something toward your goal every single day. Even tiny steps count. Write one paragraph. Make one call. Do one rep. Send one message. Never have a 0 day. Never let a day pass where you did nothing. Rest is different from stopping. Rest recharges you. Then you move again. But stopping? Stopping is giving up momentum, and momentum is everything. Think practically. A writer writes daily even if just 100 words. An entrepreneur makes one business move daily. An athlete trains consistently even if just 10 minutes. Small daily motion compounds to unstoppable force. Day 1 is small step. Day 100 is mile traveled. Day 365 is different person entirely. Motion created transformation. Machiavelli knew this truth. A prince must always be planning and executing. Always, not sometimes, always. Rest yes, stop no. Motion is power. Stillness is vulnerability. Here's the final truth. You can't be stopped if you won't stop. External obstacles can slow you. Only you can stop you. Choose not to. Your action step. Commit to daily non-zero progress. Define your minimum daily action. Execute no matter what. Become literally unstoppable. You now have the complete system. 3 pillars that remove all vulnerability: radical self-reliance, outcome independence, strategic optimism. 8 principles that create unstoppable psychology. Control your narrative. Make obstacles advantages. Need nobody's permission. Process failure as data. Build momentum. Operate from abundance. Refuse permanent labels. Stay in motion always. This is Machiavelli's power psychology. This is how you become someone nobody can hold back, break, or stop. The transformation is complete. You came here stoppable. You leave here with the exact mental frameworks that create unstoppability. Same person, different psychology. Different psychology means different life. Everything changes when your mind becomes unbreakable. But here's the reality. This isn't magic. This is mental architecture. It works when you apply it. It does nothing when you ignore it. Knowledge without action is useless. You have the knowledge. Now comes the action. Pick 3 of the 8 principles, apply them this week. Notice how obstacles feel different. Notice how pressure affects you less. Notice how unstoppable you're becoming. Then come back. Learn 3 more. Layer by layer, principle by principle. Build yourself into someone nothing can stop. Right now, drop these affirmations in the comments, all 3. Nobody can stop me. I am psychologically sovereign. I rely on myself, need nothing, and adapt to everything. Do it. Commit publicly. Make it real. If this video gave you the psychology of unstoppability, hit that like button if you want more power. Psychology that actually works. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. This is strategic wisdom for people who refuse to stay stuck. You're in rare company now. They think they can stop you. Let them think that. While they're thinking, you're moving. While they're doubting, you're building. While they're waiting for perfect conditions, you're creating them. And moving targets with unstoppable psychology don't get stopped. They just keep moving until they win.